The volunteer army attempting to capture Megaholton was based in Gordoba, located to the north.
After all, Megaholton was the correct path. If we had ignored this force and been stuck in Sict prison, we would have been annihilated. As expected of the Prince of Zenobia, brilliant strategy.
Nana, stop calling Tristan a prince. We don't know where Zetagenia's spies are.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll be careful.
King Liatfrost and Nana had been told that Tristan was the Prince of Zenobia, but that fact wasn't known by the majority of the volunteer army. After all, the people of Zetagenia were searching for a man named Tristan. If the person in charge of the volunteer army was found out to be the Prince of Zenobia, Zetagenia would come to crush him with all its might. The fewer who knew his secret, the better.
Cain, enough is enough, but it's a bigger city wall than I'd expected.
Indeed. According to the scouts, we can't overcome or destroy it with our strength and equipment. There is no choice but to enter from the west entrance.
If that's the case, we'll have to release Wannik and Callus first to secure the bridge.
When fighting across a river, bridges were as important strategic bases as cities. In order to keep troops moving back and forth consistently, it was essential that bridges were secured. The weakness of the volunteer army, which had limited strength, was their ability to secure a large area.
Securing bridges and liberating cities is too much to protect.
Ignore bridges in some cases. The enemy will need a bridge to attack our stronghold, and they won't drop it.
But what if the enemy devotes troops to secure the bridge?
Don't worry. If the enemy deploys a large force, there will be a chance for us to take advantage. The scariest thing is that they can ignore everything and attack with their whole army.
Tristan's greatest fear was that the enemy would immediately launch an all-out assault. It would be difficult for the volunteer army to win against 5 times as many troops at once. In the event of an all-out assault, the only thing the volunteer army could do would be to retreat.
Will the enemy mount an all-out attack?
I don't know. Judging from the situation so far, there is no sign of it. But I can't find a reason for them not to.
None of us should think like that. We've overcome any crisis and we'll be fine this time.
I agree. Even if you're worried, there's no way. Anyway, let's do what we can.
Megaholton was a city protected by great double walls and was the perfect place for a military base. Since Baldur's army could not be contained only in the city, various facilities were built and stationed within the second wall. One of the larger mansions in Megaholton was the headquarters of Baldur's army. The owner of the mansion became a follower of Baldur and surrendered himself. At the back of the mansion sat a man named Durham, who had been entrusted by Baldur with commanding the troops stationed there.
I have a report. The volunteer army has arrived in Gordoba.
Is that so?
Those who are irreverent are going to confront Lord Baldur. I thought it would be better to crush them with a large force.
Not really. I've heard a rumor that disturbs me.
Is it that the general of the volunteer army is the spitting image of Grand Zenobia?
That's right.
Huh. Such a thing must be nonsense circulated by the volunteer army.
You may not know this as you have been tracking the movements of the army, but the source of this rumor is not the volunteers. The old people who saw the general said so.
But you don't have to worry about that.
Well, actually, Baldur is looking for a successor to the kingdom of Zenobia.
What? But why?
You don't have to interfere with Balder's plans.
Forgive me.
Anyway, if that general is descended from Zenobia, he must be captured alive and brought to Lord Balder.
Then how?
Let's take a look at the enemy's formation first. Send troops to Gordoba regularly until the enemy crosses the river. Then, if you find out that he is not the Prince of Zenobia, you can crush him with all your might.
As you say.
The advance of the volunteer army was uneventful. They had successfully liberated Wannock on the western outskirts before freeing Dendale and Fantas and liberating Callus in front of the enemy. The residents of Wannock welcomed the arrival of the volunteer army. In a tavern in the city of Wannock, a man was drinking cheap ale. He was a middle-aged man with a stocky physique. He looked tired, probably because he had drunk too much.
Hey, oh old man, another drink, another drink.
All right.
Hey, old man.
What's the big deal, Mizell? Don't slam the door so hard.
The volunteer army is here in town.
Volunteer army? Oh, the guys fighting Balder.
That's right. That's amazing. Their general is about 20 years old.
Are you sure he isn't just a youth pretending to be a hero?
No. He is the real thing. At first glance, I understood. Yes, they can do it. I'm definitely on the side of the volunteer army.
Haha. With you on your side, I'm sure that will be very reassuring for them.
You don't understand. The general's passing in front of here now, so take a look. At first glance, you can tell he's the real deal.
Is that so?
Hey, not yet.
Is that old man drinking again? Hey, wait a minute. Why don't you help out the volunteers when you're not drunk? You used to be a knight, right?
How can I serve a guy who doesn't even know he's born? Look at me. I used to be a knight of Zenobia.
Hey, that's a big deal.
A knight of Zenobia. There were words that men always said when they got drunk. But nobody took it seriously, thinking it was a drunken old man's joke.
Whoa, old man! Look, the volunteer army general is passing. Go out and take a look.
If that's the volunteer army, it's ridiculous.
Just then, Tristan mounted on horseback was passing in front of him.
Huh? No way, those eyes, that figure, no way, it can't be. No, there's no doubt. No matter how drunk I am, I couldn't mistake that face.
It was only for a moment, but the young man's face from the window definitely contained the image of the person to whom he had sworn sincerely allegiance.
The volunteer army. That's right, he is the real thing.
Unknowingly, tears began to flow down the man's cheeks. Some of the precious things that he had tried to protect long ago but could not protect had returned to him. Because of his loss, he had not forgiven himself and had been in a state of desperation all his life. But now those days had come to an end. If the man was who he thought he was, he knew what he had to do. He no longer had to lament what he'd lost and drown his sorrows with drink.
Oh, he is a great general, isn't he?
Certainly, he seems to be a solid person for his age.
I'm sure the volunteer army will defeat Balder.
What are you doing?
What the hell? Spilling ale can't be helped, I guess.
Were you surprised to see the general too? Well, that's fine. Sometimes this happens. What do you want to do? Another drink?
No, I don't need alcohol anymore.
Is that so?
This will cover the cost of the ale. Thank you for taking care of me.
Thank you. Anytime.
Yorkaf, a former Zenobian knight who had recovered his senses, walked out of the tavern with a firm gait.